I'm Jason Simmons. I've been doing classic space in Lego for years and years. I've been collecting it since I was a little kid. What I've got here is moon base module because there was another group that was doing moon base module, and I usually do moon base, and I wasn't planning on it for this show, and then I heard they were coming, so I quickly built this in like 3 weeks, really fast. Some of my tunnels are older, but I redecorated them and whatnot. So you got the big classic space logo there. This is like their headquarters or whatever. And then I've got my my colorful space suits here. Everybody's coming in a different color, getting into a spaceship, flying off to whatever planet. And that's kind of fun. But what I've been really working on for the past 2 years, because we didn't have this show last year because of COVID, I've been working on this for 2 years. This is Benny's new and used spaceships. And so you got all these Benny lookalikes, and they're buying these new and used spaceships. And once they bought it, they get in this big long line here because they got to go register it at the DSV. That's the Department of Space Vehicles, the future version of the DMV. So as they're going to this DSV, you'll notice it's being run by stormtroopers, and it's being headed up by Professor Umbridge. So it's a lot of government bureaucracy, and that's why we have the long line. I also did a double-decker monorail. I looked online. I didn't see anybody else doing a double-decker monorail, so hopefully this is unique or new, or I just haven't seen anybody else do it. That took some work. Again, I went with the classic space colors. I've got one going one way, one going the other. I'm really happy with how that turned out. And then another moon-based modular-looking thing here. And then we have Emmett's garage. So if any of these new and used spaceships break down, you can take it to Emmett, and he'll fix you up. And then as I was demonstrating for these other folks, I've got this ship. I've got this ship motorized on a linear actuator and on a geared motor, so I can rotate it and bring it up and down. The kids love it. And then I'm getting into LEDs this year. I haven't done that in the past, so I got some LEDs lighting the way here, and then I've lit up the Emmett's garage inside there. So yeah.
There's so much to take in with this build. I mean, you've got moving parts, you've got lights, you've got all of the spaceships. So as you've kind of expanded on this, how have you added to it? How have you kind of come up with ideas in terms of what you want to do with it?
That's a good question. I like to recycle when we can because, we spend a lot of time building on these things, and it's like, well, can I get another year out of it? This mountain, about a third of it, is a mountain that my son had a few years ago. It was the Volcano from the Jurassic World that he had built. And so I revamped that. I took the lava off it, and then I put this centerpiece in so that he can have there can be a landing bay in there. And that landing bay there and Benny's spaceship here is leftovers of a giant helicarrier I had several years ago. So again, I like to recycle, come up with new ideas, trying to push my own envelope a little bit. Like the roof of that, I've just totally decorated in Greeble. Normally, I would just have a plain roof, but I'm trying to do new things and try new building techniques. And so one of the things most Lego builders will tell you is they're always learning how to connect pieces in a different way and how to make a different look and a different feel. For example, these have a very good classic space look, but it's newer parts. This is the newer Benny's ship that was in a set just a year or so ago. But I thought, okay, well, how can I take that and make it look like the old Galaxy Explorer that we have over there? So yeah, I'm just always trying to learn, keep up with these people. I look at some of these other layouts and it's like, oh, I still feel like I'm behind everybody.
I think this is very impressive for what you've done. One thing I love that you incorporated in a lot of parts of this build is the brick-built lettering. So talk about how you achieved that with some of these different elements.
Well, Excel, actually. I've got an Excel spreadsheet that I made all the cells the same size, make them square, and then I highlight them yellow, highlight them blue to make it look like I need to, and then I go to build it. And then I run out of yellow slopes, so I go buy some on BrickLink until I can get it right. And Emmett's garage was the same way. It's just I've got a spreadsheet somewhere on my computer that looks just like that.
So you mentioned the line for the DSV here. You can see kind of inside there a little bit. What do we have going on inside there?
Well, it's typical, government bureaucracy. You got to deal with the stormtroopers, and all they want is a new license plate. But, they run slow. But There's a few that have luckily got their license plates, and they got to try to mount them to the. There's a little stud back there where they can mount their license plate. So, yeah, and they have to register their ground vehicles too. So.
And what is this building we have on the left back here?
That's kind of an apartment building. That's again one of my experimental things, because these blue parts are panels, and they're actually on their side. So I did a little of what we call snot, stud snot on top. And again, that's pushing my own boundary, because I don't like to build, or I don't typically build like that. So again, I was trying to learn how to do it and do different things, and so that was a good learning experience.
I love the way you use those panels there. It creates a nice flow kind of all around the build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this ship too, it shows you how I was doing some snot wings. These are slopes on their side for the wings and whatnot, and I liked how that turned out. That looks pretty sharp.
Now, you mentioned a few different spots in the layout here, kind of these like moon-based modules, and I know that's kind of a modular type of building that's been around for a number of years at the conventions, but for people who haven't seen that, explain a little bit more of kind of the design elements that go into those.
Okay. Well, basically, yeah, there's a standard little height and dimension for the doors, and the theory is if everybody builds to that standard, you can mate right up, and you can see that at the very beginning if we want to walk back there. Because I'd never met these people before, but my tunnels were at the exact right height as his tunnels, right on the same spot on the base plate, right where they should be according to the standard. And so we come together, that guy too, that's not mine either, and they just mate right up and it looks natural. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that standard has been around for a number of years, and every once in a while we do it.
And then you've got this big imposing gray tower here as well.
Yes. That was kind of a fun build. It's a little bit hollow if you look through the cleared windows, and it's very modular. All four sides come apart, and the base comes apart for transportation. And my concern with such a hollow design is whether or not it was going to support that ball up there, because that is completely solid brick, and hasn't fallen over yet. So, but we're only on day one of the show, so we'll have to find out.
And then you've got Lego has released so many different colors of the classic Spacemen now, so you're able to incorporate a bunch of those.
Yes, I love the recent stuff. The pink ones are great. They've come out with an orange minifig, but he's only in one book, and so I don't have very many of those yet, but I would love to do one in orange. But I love showing these guys, this ship here. That is the Space Cruiser from 1978. That's what started it all for me back when I was a little kid. And now I have 4 of them because I'm just an insane collector that way.
Fulfilling your childhood dreams.
Yes, it is. It really is. It keeps me young. It's childhood dreams. But basically my goal has been, and I've achieved, collecting every Lego space set they've made since 1978.
Wow. Very impressive. So I'm sure, do you try to keep all of those on display at your house then?
I've got a fair amount of them on display, but I can't display all of them unless I can have the entire basement, and the wife says no.
Understandable. And speaking of display space, I mean, this takes up a tremendous amount here at the convention. So what was set up like for you at the show?
Oh, it was 8 hours of nightmare yesterday. You talk to the people that worked with me. It's like, you were a little stressed yesterday. It's like, yeah. But towards the end, I finally got to a point where I knew it was going to happen, and I was much happier. And things went well. I brought my daughter with me to help, and she did a lot of the silly decoration stuff, like people falling out of the door with their helmet. So, she's a creative one. I'm just the engineer, so.
Yeah. Even just the lineup of minifigures there, I'm sure is fun to set up and have all those different characters.
It is, and the kids love it because there isn't a kid that walks by who doesn't recognize something. Because there's Warner Brothers, there's Disney, there's Star Wars, there's classic space, there's everything in there.
What were some of your inspirations for some of the new and used vehicles here? Because you've got different colors. This is like the Mars mission theme there.
Yes, exactly. That's what I tried to do. This basic design is actually copied from a 1992 Space Police 2 Galactic Chief set. And I thought, wouldn't that be fun to do in different themes? So I did one that was like a cheese theme, the guy's yellow. I did a classic space theme. I did a fire theme. I did the M-Tron theme, like you pointed out, the Mars mission theme. And I thought that was fun. And then I came up with these others in various colors. Because, when you go to a car lot, it's the same car with just a little bit different trim packages or different colors. This one I did in brown and gold because one of our club members, he's not here today, he works for UPS. And it's like, well, I'll do one for him in the UPS colors.
Got the package delivery system as well.
Exactly.
So with the moving parts and lights, does all that run pretty smoothly at the show, or have you had to kind of babysit that to keep it going?
Surprisingly, it's been doing really well. You know, I turned it on this morning, and hopefully I'll just turn it off tonight when the show's over and start it up again in the morning. The monorail and these LEDs are 9 volt. The big bright lights back there are powered off USB, which is plugged into AC, so I'm not worried about that one. I can let that run all night long.
Yeah.
But yeah, I brought extra batteries, so if anything runs out, I'll replace them.
Sounds good. This is fantastic. Thank you for all of your effort into this whole massive display here and for bringing it out to the show. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thanks for coming.